Hello everybody, I am Alpha. A video for you today. This is a live stream, of course. So first off, we have the prophecy. Just came to show this off. I haven't shown this video yet. I probably will make one soon, although this may suffice instead. So first up, starting from the front, nice long barrel. Doesn't go all the way up. Stops at about this point here. The reason for that is it's going for about that 150 FPS range, using a 20N spring, the silver kit with the shorter barrel, and I have a metal red bolt sled and clear expanded plunger tube, metal catch and trigger. I personally like the metal trigger. It's a lot of a shorter pull, as well as it's shiny red, which is always amazing. It's always good to have shiny red parts on your blaster. Now, what upgrades I'm planning on doing to this in the future? First off, I am planning on having it upgraded to a 25N or a 28N, and definitely going to have a longer barrel and a scar barrel once I get that longer barrel on, because right now, even if I were to carve away some of the insides of it, it wouldn't really matter because I wouldn't be able to fit a scar in anyway due to how far it is back. So once I get that 30 centimeter barrel, maybe 32, then I will be able to use this at its full power. It's currently only hitting 150. Now, as it has full Picatinny on the top, and I might add some on the sides later, I will be getting a red dot sight for it eventually, just so that I can hit those things at longer ranges. I'll have it zeroed in about probably 20 to 30 meters, just depending on the game mode, because currently I am playing at shorter ranges, so I might need to zero it at a short range. So there is that, and I hope you guys are excited to see more of that in the future. Next up, we have these motors. These look like your average motors, however, they are forge motors. They were found by Felix Foam Forge and tested by both me and him. He's tested the FPS more. I've tested durability. They are not any S motors. They are AA NIM motors, which is really, really good, especially for beginners. FK 130 422638. They are very nice motors, carbon brushed, and they are very nice as far as running off NIMs go. You get about 110 to 120 on NIM batteries, just 4 of them. AA's really, really nice. You don't need to mod anything else, just do a rewire, which is really awesome. Now, next up, we have, I wanted to show you guys the patches. For those of you that haven't seen them, they look very nice. They're nice and shiny red in real life, and they are, as far as I'm got about 20 of these lying around, and I might do something with them soon. I've got a couple like a patch wall or something. Hello, Zab12. Thank you for joining this stream. The patches came out really well. I got them semi-locally made. Some guys down in Tasmania. That was the closest I could find to local. But I'm really excited to show those off finally on camera. They've been in the background before, but now I've shown them off right up front where everyone can see them. Next up, I'm building a twig snake, grass snake hybrid. Twig snake is this part here. The twig is shorter, smaller. I can fit it on my print bed, which is really nice. The grass snake part is the handle, because the twig snake one only goes to about here, and that is not comfortable. So I printed off this hybrid, and it works really well. As far as the trigger pull and all that goes, I haven't got the motors in yet, but that will happen soon, along with a bunch of the I need the flywheels in, and then there was some interesting design choices that I'm not sure about with this blaster. For starters, they decided to go with one of the bigger switches rather than small ones. They could have saved a lot of space by going with the smaller switches and a MOSFET instead. However, I get that a lot of nerfers prefer just using the bigger switch and all that. Thank you, Zab12. That is very nice of you. Another thing is, been getting some questions on some of the areas about the Xeus recently. Oh, hello, Canadian modeler. Welcome to the stream. About the Xeus recently, has it been updated or anything like that? It's got a new scar barrel. It has a custom machine scar barrel on it by Spectre Nerfworks. Other than that, most of the updates are just here inside where I can't show you, sadly. But basically, I put in a new plunder tube. I had to cut it up a bit. It was originally a stock Canadian modeler. Yeah, I think I did one of your builds a while back on Mod of the Month Canadian modeler. And I believe I've seen a couple of your builds on the thing. Yeah, the only operator. Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah. So the thing with that is I can't show it to you. Unfortunately, the thing isn't clear like the prophecy, so that makes it a lot harder to show people, which is a bit of a pain. But when I cut down the plunder tube, it actually did improve performance quite a bit because it's a lot. The metal one is a lot smaller, and that's not good for airflow. And when I say a lot, it's only a mil, but if you get that over the whole length of the blaster, then it makes sense as to why cutting that up and using that instead would work better. Another thing is the problem I was having is a couple of I was just using a polycarbonate plunger head and a standard plunger rod, which wasn't working out so well. They eventually just sheared off at the front. So I got a carbon fiber and aluminium one, and that is working really smoothly. And I got an X-ring on it, so that helped. That actually surprisingly helped. X-rings are lower friction, higher seal, which is quite amazing, and it's a bit weird. So a lot of you will be surprised to see this. I showed it off the stream a while back. However, I haven't pulled it out since then. Really, I've been trying to decide exactly what to do with it. I've got a T-pull. I know I want a T-pull on the back. It's going to be having a magazine adapter here. Brass breech here, and in here. So the thing is, I'm not going to be using 3D printing except for the top rail. I'm going to put a Picatinny rail on top. So we need to smuggle you some Apollos. Yeah, I have a single Apollo, but I could definitely use some more, even if only the plunder. The plunder tubes are very big and very cool. They're actually bigger, did you know, than Longshot ones, surprisingly, as far as diameter goes. It's quite awesome. And then once I've got a Picatinny mount instead of this rival, like it's sort of Picatinny, but not quite. They've changed the diameter and angle and all that. Then I put some faux barrel on the top just to make sure I don't ram brass into anyone. It won't be good for the barrel or the person. Metal going into you is not a fun experience. What is an Apollo? Apollo is a handle-fed rival top prime blaster. It's really cool. I'd say it's I don't have much of a sample size, to be clear, but it's my favorite rival blaster for being rival. It's really good as far as modability goes. You can just upgrade the spring very easy. It's got nice gears inside, which is really important, which lightens the spring load a little bit, as well as reduces draw length needed. The other thing is you get a lot of power out of the box, which is really nice. This is going to be converted to darts. That one's staying rival because I like it for close quarters. Anything outside that, it's not. I don't see the use case for it. But indoors, it's going to be good. So this will be turned into a small carbine type thing. And so here's the thing. I've been working on a pretty cool project for the past few months, actually. Just getting my design skills up and getting my skills up. I've had a lot of help from some friends. I've spent ages doing this. So first up, just to give you a clue, does anyone know what's inside this bag? Anyone guess in chat? Meanwhile, I'll get it out and you guys can see it. All right, who guessed solenoid? We'll see if I can get that the right way up for you guys. So, how a solenoid works is, inside here is an electromagnetic coil. The coil wraps around here. Once it's activated by any form of electric current with enough amps, in this case 8 amps is the nominal current for this, it moves forward. Can send you carbine files. That would be cool. I'm not against the 3D printing for cosmetics thing. I want to try and do the internals with just pure, I want to DIY it. That looks very powerful. Yeah, it will be. By the time it's done, it will be very powerful. So this solenoid, right? Once it's powered, it will push forward and slam the darts into the flywheels, which is going to be good. Now, the problem with these it's an on-off thing. It's not like a rapid strike or strife pusher, where when you turn it on, it's going. That doesn't happen. You turn it on, it goes forward, turn it off, goes back. So accounting for that, what do? That's not full auto, that's just semi-auto. Mechanical blasters already have that advantage. Now, I didn't make this solenoid. This was made from Fly with the World. Haven't tested it yet. I will soon, and you guys will get a video on that as soon as possible. Well, once I'm done the other part of it. Now, what I've been working on, you see this mess of wires. This was the first prototype. Didn't work, so I have to redo it, but it was a good proof of concept. What it is, this mess of wires, select fire. Well, while I was testing, this shorted out, so I need a new one of these MOSFET and setup and all that. But what select fire will do is rapidly turn on and off this however many times I tell it to using a microcontroller. In this case, an Arduino Micro or Nano. I'm not 100% sure. This one's the Nano. This one's the Nano. So once I get this down pat and the coding is done, I just need to rewire it once my new shell gets in, wired into the shell. Then I will be able to transfer all this mess, because I had to wire this all up. This is a voltage regulator, a massive one. The reason I got a massive one is because I can choose the voltage, so I can test different things on it, which is really, really helpful. Once I've tested that, I will make a board. I am making a small board that contains all of that mess into a really small space, small enough that you can fit it inside a Raven battery tray, which, if you know, is really, really small. And the best part is, it'll be all plug and play. There will be no nutty wiring like I had to do there. Basically, you'll just have to wire up an XT30 or XT60 connector. You'll have to wire up a switch to another connector, and then a third switch to another one. That sounds like a lot, but then you realize that it's all done. The rest of it's done for you. You don't have to interact with the board at all. You just choose the length of your wires, solder them together, plug it in. It's ready to go. Once that is done, that means that you get select fire with these at any point, in any blaster, at any point, which means that you are going to be able to control whatever is needed. So say you have rules that they have 3 shots and they're out, no respawns. Go 3-shot burst. That'll be the best option. If you need to take down a whole field of players at once, switch, go full auto. There are really a lot of options with this, and it's going to be great for a lot of reasons. The board is still a little while coming because I have to transfer this all into schematic form and then send it off. and with shipping times recently, that may take a while. But I also have some decisions to make. Rotary switch, great. However, it has way too many options, so I'd have to lock that down, and I've got a way of doing that, but it is a bit of a pain. Another option is slide switch. This one has 4 options. It's just a bit annoying to get to the 4th one. This slide switch is a good option, except for the fact that it's harder to mount on the shell. And the fact is that it's a bit more finicky about where you place it, which can be a bit annoying in the heat of battle. Once you have done that, though, I believe this could be a very nice option. They both, I think, would come down to preference. I'm probably going to use the rotary one due to easier shell mounting and the fact that you can do it with your thumb easier. The idea of the whole board is that it's going to take out all the hassle of it, and it means that I can use these with little to no problem. And I'm hoping to get some testing done on one of those boards soon by a couple of people. We'll see how that goes, though. Other than that, what have I got? Oh yeah, a lot of people have been wondering what my loadout is recently, and if I've got any DIY stuff whatsoever. I do indeed have DIY stuff. This looks like jeans because it used to be. It is a back holster. It is for my Boomco shotgun that I made a while back. It fires pretty well, the blaster. However, the draw was a little bit weird to get used to at first. The first war I went to, I thought it was great. I'd already tested a bunch of times, nice and smooth. And then the moment I get charged and I ran out of ammo in my main pistol, because what I was running was a pistol / shoulder loadout, tried to pull it out, got caught on the fabric, so that was a bit of a pain. But other than that, it's been running fairly decently, and it works pretty well. And another thing is the what else? The stuff I hold the ammo in for those sort of loadouts, more of a scavenger style loadout. I used to have like a fabric one, but I went full jank and went with a tape one. I made a tape one in bright red because I found bright red tape, so of course I'm going to use red. And the thing is, this actually holds the darts better than the fabric one, which I did a while back, and it's a bit strange to think that it can. And yeah, there was a while back. I've got another project. A while back, someone was actually, I believe they're still doing it. They're trying to make half-length Boomco darts. His name's Boomtendo. Half-length Boomco darts, good idea. It just didn't get enough traction. However, it got me thinking that I could probably make my own darts. I'm not going to go Boomco. They don't work with most of my blasters, and I'd rather keep the ecosystem as it is for now. I will use, if Half-Life Boomco did come out, I'd love it, because then I can actually get a good barrel length on them. However, with foam darts, I personally have been using them for a long time, and I've gotten used to how they work. So what I've done is I've made a mold. I've 3D designed a mold. I checked the sizing of the darts. It looks all good. I just need to 3D print the mold. However, I'm still having trouble finding the silicon to make the dart heads. Once the dart heads are made, I can put them on some random foam bodies and have brass accepted darts. The thing is, worker darts, their foam's a bit iffy in fitting in brass, and I like brass barrels, so I'd like to see if I can make my own darts, even if just for personal use. So I think it'll be quite fun. And yeah. What do you guys think about like custom darts and all that, and custom motors and all those sort of things? Also, I've got to try and figure out how to make this half length compatible. Currently, it is only full length compatible, and that is not acceptable. Can't be using full lengths all that often. It'll be fine at the lower power games though, so I'm going to try and be able to fit both. If not, I'll just shift this forward from where it would sit normally, and then I can do it no problem. However, until that time, I have to figure out exactly what I'll be using instead. Probably some form of 3D printed part. Not quite sure what will fit on there. Maybe if I put a magnet in the middle of the print, then I could lock it on, but then I'd be concerned about it conflicting with this moving out. I don't know if it's a thing, but I was thinking perhaps it could work like that. Another thing I need to do with the select fire is sort of shield this from it, because sorry, one moment. Because if you think about it, electromagnets and technology do not play well together. Computers do not like electromagnets, and it's fair enough. It can wipe things, and that's not going to be a good option. So I've got to think of a way of doing that. If anyone knows anything like that, please let me know. Another thing I've been thinking about is extra features. I board that can just take a MOSFETs, basically takes all the effort out of doing MOSFETs. And I'll be having a couple of those sent to me at the same time as the sideboards. However, I haven't seen much need for them because I saw someone else came out with one recently. But a shielding board, like one that shields itself and does all these other things, that would be perfect. And perhaps I can get an all-in-one board which does select fire, the motors, and what else? And perhaps a voltage regulator, all those things. If I can get all those things into one board at a reasonable size, I reckon that would be very nice to use, because controlling brushed motors is always a pain, but it is possible. It just takes a lot of tinkering. If you're going to do that, probably just go brushless. I plan to do a brushless build probably late this year, but we'll see how that works out, mostly due to me not trusting my printer to make the flywheels correctly. I can definitely make the cage. Hello, Brimtendo. Thanks for dropping by. Guys, this is the guy that made the darts I was talking about earlier. They're called Pengu Dart, half-length Boomco. Very cool stuff. But if I can get a brushless blaster going, that'd be quite fun to combine with some select fire. If you guys have seen Airzone's blasters, he made a 300 FPS Dominator and I think it was like 400 FPS 6-stage monstrosity of a Hurricane. I don't want to do that. That would I don't have a tree big enough. I've got a 4S and it's a pretty beefy one, but nothing like that. That would be absolutely insane. So on the topic of insane blasters, recently I've been trying to up the ante in FPS efficiency and power. The reason I'm trying to do that is I am going to be trying to make a bunch of 200 FPS blasters just for fun, and for, perhaps a local league to start up. However, it can get quite expensive if you're just planning on using kits. So what I need to do is get a new drill bit for making brass bridges again, because mine got worn out and it is no longer performing up to my standards. And I need to figure out what would be the best way to make an efficient, cheap setup. Because I've got a long shot shell ready to go, and I'm going to be trying to use, there's this spring from Bunnings, and it is called C286 spring. People have been using them in long shots, and the break action one for a long time. Welcome, Super Wacky, to the stream. Good to see you here. The thing is that spring is not only cheaper than standard long shot springs, it also doesn't cost me any postage costs because I can just go to Bunnings and get a bunch of them, which is really good. So that is the first step. I just need to see what the optimal barrel length for those are and see if they actually are efficient enough to use with a standard long shot spring combined. I already have the spring set up ready just here. Sorry about that. So it's a bit shorter. It's the one in the center. It's a bit shorter than standard, which is maybe a little bit of a problem. It means it's gonna be, how to put this? So the long shot thing will normally sit there, and then it's gonna be a little bit of draw before you actually get to the spring. I estimate it to be about 8 hours worth of spring, give or take. But as far as it goes, it seems to be powerful enough that I could potentially be using it to get it done. And the thing is, if I can do that, then I can get in case this live stream goes out, thank you all for watching. But anyway, if it continues, I may as well continue on speaking. So the thing is, once I can get this working at maximum efficiency, I reckon I can get around 150 to 180, which in a 200 limit war will be fine. However, I'm thinking it'll probably be more of a 250 limit war. So I'm going to probably need some alternatives. If any of you have any ideas, that'd be good to see, especially in the comments section. And the thing, once that is done, I have a build I've always wanted. Do any of you remember the Nerf Trojan? It was a blaster, a Nerf SBNC, Southern Brisbane Nerf Club. He used to make some really cool stuff. And let me drop a link in the chat just in case those who don't know what I'm talking about, so that you guys can see. The thing about that is it was awesome. However, it used a Raven, and I didn't have access to a Raven until recently. I got given one. Thanks, guys, for that. So this Raven will either be kept as it is and just upgrade internals, maybe a paint job, because I'm starting to do paint jobs, practicing on some old Mavericks. Great blaster to do test paint jobs on, but I will get better eventually. Or I can, like in that video, into the Rapid Strike, and then I can have a nice big bulky battle, and I can put Select Fire in that as well. And yes, I'm going Select Fire crazy because I like the idea of behind it. Provided that one works, I will be using it in most of the flywheel blasters that aren't going to be budget flywheel blasters. Because if you think about it, it's only 8 extra amps plus whatever milliamps the supply takes, like the brains behind it takes. And overall, that means that for that many amps, for say, let's say 9, just round it up to 9, I can get a blaster that's capable of filling pretty much any of the flywheels in one. So that way I don't have to have separate ones for each one. Ah, General Kenobi, you are a bold one. Welcome, Brezzy, 5,000. Good work on your last blaster build, by the way. So, aside from that, I am working on getting some better equipment. I got a bandsaw recently, which is awesome. I got given it by my parents. Thank you. It is great. And since I've done that, I've just been working on trying to get the cuts straight. My first attempts were okay, a little bit of bending, but I've been slowly getting better at using it. And that means integrations are going to be easier, which is great. I had a really hard time keeping straight cuts on things that are bigger. I can do straight cuts on small things such as brass breeches and whatnot, but nothing on the bigger side of things. And that was a problem for doing integrations. As you all know, you do need a lot of straight cuts, and that is a bit of a problem. And it also means I can work with polycarbonate easier, which means custom parts. Once again, lots of custom things going on here, and I'm really excited about it. Now, going back to gear for a while. This is my gear bag. Very nice bag, can carry on the side in case I want to use this as like a heavy gear thing. They're actually surprisingly easy to reach. Just I don't have enough mags to put here and on my belt. I just run the belt currently, but I am working on it. This has enough room for a bunch of patches. Brisbane area Nerf group, Blast Tech camo patch, which is actually blending in almost too well right now, and the Alpha 2 Omega patch, which is my own one, which I'm really happy about that one and how those came out, as I said earlier. And yeah, so do you guys have any questions or comments or concerns about what's happened so far, and any ideas for future videos? So, aside from all that, I've been trying to get done a couple more 3D printed designs. I've got a couple up on Thingiverse, and they're not the greatest. On Thingiverse was a couple of my earlier designs. They're uploading some more soon though, so if you want to check that out, it's Cyberclone Alpha on there, as it was my old YouTube name. And the designs so far, a lot of them have worked after a little bit of tweaking. A lot of my earlier 3D stuff was mostly editing other designs to make them better. For example, there was this Retaliator mag release lever thing, which you saw in one of my earlier videos. I had to, I was just going to Dremel the hole out bigger, but it caught and it snapped a piece of the Dremel bit. So instead I just went into the files and made bigger, and that made the pinion action work better. So that was good. And yeah, that was my earliest thing with 3D design. Since then I've gotten better. I'm getting close to the point where I think I can design my own blaster, although that's still probably half a year to a year out. Before I can start a question for you, sir. Have you ever thought about trying to make a long shot like I have? Low spring yield is light. If I remember correctly, your long shot was light, as light as possibly can be, a bolt action, low spring load. You did think about that, and I was trying to think about how I could do that, but with higher FPS. For those of you that don't know, I watched Brezzy's channel for a while now, and he's done some cool stuff on the forums. He's made some very nice blasters. He focuses on how fast he can fire his springers a lot recently. So he is doing some really cool stuff with man minutes, because just rapid fire how many darts you can get in a minute. So I have thought about it. I am trying to figure out how I can do something similar, but with higher FPS, spring level, and all that, because I don't like how the long shot fires stock. It is unacceptable, effectively. I like things going far, fast, and just overall accurate. Stock long shots don't have that. And yeah, it would be cool to do something similar, though. I want to try actually beating your time in a mad minute someday. That would be really cool. Although I doubt it, since I am trying to use higher kilo springs. So on the subject matter of high kilo springs, those of you that don't know, it's not all about the spring. It's about efficiency. For example, I know that I've seen recently someone get 400 feet per second. However, to do it, they had to use a caliburn with about a 40 kilo spring load, which is nuts. To get to 400 FPS is no small feat, and they did really well. However, it's not all about the spring load. You want to try and go around the need for having a high spring load by having your piston go faster with less friction. You can try enlarging the plunger tube, which the Caliburn has got one of the biggest plunger tubes I've ever seen, and that's probably about as big as you'd want to go, honestly. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to draw the thing back. It's already really long blaster, even without the mods that some people are doing to it. I know for a fact that Radioactive Designs, he is making a hammer shot, and he has broken all the limits that everyone has thought was possible by making it more efficient and going to some fairly insane spring loads to start with. But once he broke that limit, then he started whittling his way down to see if he can make it more and more efficient. He's made some really nice brass barrels recently. He is hitting over 200 FPS, and it's a really crazy efficient design. The amount of hours he has put into making it, though, is insane. So really, to get your blasters firing in really, really well is something that takes time and effort. You can slap a kit together, great, it'll fire decent enough, but can you get that kit functioning at peak efficiency for what it is? You want to make sure. That's one of the reasons that Retaliators have the expanded plunger tube. The Retaliator can only go so fast without it. Then that is a big problem. For example, if you want a shorter draw, then have a wider plunger tube. If you want a longer draw, you could potentially have a thinner plunger tube. However, you could have both, which is what the Caliburn tries to be. Personally, I'm a bit skeptical on the Caliburn because it can break, it can melt very easily. On the other hand, you can just print new parts for it, but I think that's what the U-Burn tried to fix, all the flexing and all the bad stuff about it. But overall, I am impressed with the Caliburn. It's pretty nice. I'm impressed with its performance. I'm not impressed with its strength, and that's what some other blasters have tried to fix, like the Saber. It's about a 800 AUD blaster. But if I ever want to spend that much on one blaster, I'll probably just go HPA, honestly. The HPA can get, actually, after you've done the initial build, once you've got all the tanks, the fill up system, and all the regulators, it's actually quite cheap to build a blaster. Someone made a video on this. Copper Crazy made a video on this. He calculated that it's actually cheaper to make a HPA blaster than it is to make a really nice flywheel blaster, which is quite amazing. The fact that he calculated that was really helpful in me deciding what I wanted to build. But the initial cost to get in is a little nuts, especially if you don't live near a paintball place, because then you have to get your own refilling station. And you can go manual, but manual pumping for well over an hour is not something that I can or want to do. So then you got to get a compressor, and those are about $400 to $500 for a cheap one. That's not great. That's not really that great if you're not going to be using it that often. It's not a very viable option. As well as I believe it's 2-3 years, maybe a little bit more. I'm not 100% certain on how long. I think it depends on the tank, but you have to go send them back to the manufacturer or the guys that you sold it to get tested, because tanks can develop leaks, and then they can develop cracks, and then they can go bang, which is not ideal. And a lot of people are scared of HPA because they think back to the old days when people were making them out of soft drink bottles and PVC and didn't have a clue what they were doing, and that led to everyone being fearful of it. Don't be afraid of it. It's not a big bad monster. It can hurt you, but so can springs. That people had springets go and slam into their thumb, and some people have gotten really injured from that. I know it's not exploding, it's not whatever, but ultimately it's not dangerous unless you don't know what you're doing. Research first, think about it, think, okay, can I do this safely? Learn why it would be safe, learn why it wouldn't be safe. Also check the local laws. There are, down in Adelaide, you cannot have them. They would be classed under firearm, which is not good. You do not want something that's classed as a firearm on a Nerf field. In some places they are sort of legal, sort of not. There's no thing saying you can't have it. There's nothing saying you can. In that case, ask your local police. That's what I did here. I wasn't 100% sure. The law said yes, however, it wasn't 100% clear saying you can have HPA, blah blah blah. So I went to a couple local policemen that I know, and they said, yeah, that's fine, just so long as it keeps that look. And yeah, overall, that's my thoughts on that matter. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I shall see you all next time.